Hello, family. Happy Monday. It is January 18th. We are halfway through the very first month of 2021. I'm sending love. I'm sending healing to everyone. I know that we are still under a pandemic, and for some of us, we're still experiencing challenges. And I'm excited to be in connection with you again for this candid conversation today. And the person that I have coming on, I'll wait for her to come on to introduce her to you because we have a funny story about how we met, and I definitely want to see her face when I share that story. So for those of you that are new to Candid Conversations is simply that. These are conversations without any particular order or no pre-screened questions. I have invited some folks to connect with me on Instagram Live to share their stories. Many of you, all of us have stories to share that can impact the lives literally of everyone in our midst. And every story that is experienced by everyone has a jewel for someone. There is something for everybody in the stories that have been shared so far. If you have not made it to catch lives, you can find them in the IGTV, or you can find them on YouTube. The YouTube link is located in the bio. So if you click on the link tree, you will find the YouTube link where you will find all of the interviews that I have had so far. And if you're someone that has a story to share and your story is very important, everyone has a story to share. And sometimes you're not sure if, does my story make sense? Do I have something to contribute to the world? Absolutely. Everyone has something to contribute to the world. And so please direct message me. Let me know that you have a story to tell, and we will welcome you to the conversation here at Candid Conversations. And I want to share that I am taking a break for 2 weeks. As many of you know, as of last week, I became Doctora Cindy Bautista-Thomas. And thank you, community, for all the love, for all the support. Y'all about sick of me posting about this doctorate. And guess what? I might just post a little more, because if y'all know how much work it takes to complete a doctorate, then y'all gonna hear about it from me again and again, right? So I am also just so humbled by the community of people that have been sharing how I have impacted them, and just sharing their love and connection with me. And I'm just so humbled because I don't do anything to get rewards or to get accolades. And so to have people inbox me on ways that they have seen me in their lives, the way I've contributed in their lives, has been very heartwarming. And know that I will make my community proud with this degree. Last week I spoke to Doctora Cristina Melendez, who I see on here, and she came on with the whole regalia. We had such a great time in our conversation. If you haven't had a chance to check out that conversation, definitely check it out in the IGTV, or you can check it out on the YouTube. Okay, so we are waiting for our guest, Ms. Iris Martinez, who is joining us today. And I want to share how I met Iris when she comes on, because I definitely want to see her face when I share it. So how are folks doing right now? How are folks doing? Put in the little comment section a one-word check-in. You know I got to do that. I'm a social worker. But while we wait for our guest to come on, our guest is talking about children as healers and teachers. And I'm so excited about this conversation because Iris and her family are near and dear to my heart. And she has so much to share. Yes, she's here. She's here. My Iris is here. All right, she's coming. All right now. Hello, my beautiful, beautiful friend, Ms. Iris Martinez. Welcome
Hello.
to Conversations.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And first and foremost, congratulations on your doctorate. I am so proud of you. I know it was a journey and so worth it at the end.
Thank you. Absolutely. I mean, I From the moment I decided I wanted to pursue that journey, I put it on my vision board workshop. Vision board, see, that was like a slip in, right, for my vision board workshop on Saturday, February 6th.
I remember those vision boards growing up with you.
Right? Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. Don't spill the beans so fast. Come on. All right. So I'm going to share with the folks that are with us. Thank you so much for being with us, whether you're listening the replay or you're here with us live. Mrs. Iris Martinez, I've known since I was 13 years old. No, 14 years old. So before that. So Iris and I grew up in the same neighborhood, and I used to see her and her whole family in church. And I had the biggest crush on her brother. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to, put people's business out there. So I had the biggest crush on her brother and was stalking him at the church, right? Stalking. I was like one of those funny stories. And what ended up happening is we started dating when I was a freshman in high school, and I would go over to the house, and I fell in love with your mom, and I fell in love with you and your little sister and your whole family. I mean, your whole family was just like amazing. And so I think we only dated a month. It was like a month. It was like one of those high school things. He broke up with me. He broke my heart. But it's all good because I kept being up in their house.
Exactly. You became part of the family. It didn't even need a relationship to keep you there. It was just like once you were in the doors, you were in the doors. And that
Right.
was that.
Oh, thank you. And so I've been following you. We've been in each other's lives, as, family members, connecting with each other. Then my brother became your
Oh
godfather,
my gosh, yes.
right? And then I became your little sister's godmother. So we're just so intertwined. And there's always love. Like, even if there is time that we don't connect, when we do connect, it's like the beat continues.
It
It's as if,
continues. Like we never fall off our rhythm, regardless of how long we go without speaking. And it's not usually long anyways, because we're always either, if we're not in person, we're texting or giving each other a checkup call. So it's just like, you know what? We're in each other's lives. We're stuck with one another. And that's how we're gonna keep it.
excellent, excellent. And so today, if you don't have your tissue box, look, I don't even have my tissue box. So
Okay, my
it might get a little like ugly booger snot crying in here, and that's okay if that happens. That is completely okay. I may need to step away for a minute and grab a tissue, and that's okay, right? And
exactly.
so, Iris contacted me, and after seeing one of the Candid conversations, right? And
Yes.
then you and I got into a really deep discussion about your life trajectory and where you are right now. And one of the things that I've always said about you, Iris, is that you are the most resilient, the most loyal, the most loving friend and person I have ever seen in my life. I mean, no matter what happens in your life, your love sustains and, in fact, strengthens, and so admirable. So I want you to take a moment to share with folks, like, what made you come on today, right? And then tell us a little bit about you, right? Like where you grew up, what you're doing now, and then we can start getting into the nitty-gritty of the conversation.
Okay, that's perfect. So basically, what made me want to come on is seeing all of your other sessions with everyone, right? And them talking about their life experiences and goals and, how people expected certain things of them and how things turned out. So with me, it's completely on a different level. I've just like you expressed about me right now is I've had many people tell me you're so strong, you give me strength, I see you pushing every day. And I could sit with people like I've sat with you and I'd be like, girl, I don't feel like that. Like I don't feel that strong, like superwoman you're describing to me. Like, I force myself, I push myself, and I push myself not only for myself, but for my kids and
Mm,
for my family, because we have to keep pushing forward, and it's it's a lot of trials and tribulations that we go through in life, but it's also the process that broadens our expectations and
Mm.
also helps us grow as a person. And
Wow.
I think that I've grown a lot in so many different areas that personally I don't see it, but like yourself and many others that I have continuous contact with in my life, they've seen it. And I appreciate every time you guys see me down and you see me out of the norm. It's like you push me. I could receive random text messages from you, and it's just like, girl, I love you. I just want to say I love you. And I'm just like, I needed that today. I definitely needed that today, because today was one of those days where it's just like I didn't want to deal with the world, you know? So
Wow.
it's a lot. So, but and I just wanted to, you know, let other women know that you're not alone,
Mm.
because there's a lot of us that feel like no one's going to understand us. No
Wow.
one's going to understand what I'm trying to express or explain. And it's just like, girl, I'm here for you. Because, like, I tell a lot of my friends, it's like, she's like, they'll be like, oh my God, nobody's going to understand. And I'm like, listen, I'm here to hear. I'm here to not judge you. As long as it goes both ways, and we support each other in each other's decisions. I just want you to be happy. You want me to be happy. Let's keep
Wow.
doing this. We got to encourage one another.
Wow. That is so deep because as women, um, and I, I've seen how you've moved in the world from when you were literally, I don't even remember how old you were, maybe 5 or 6, I don't even know, but how you've moved into different friendships. I remember seeing you in middle school, seeing you in high school, right?
I
Seeing
know.
as you were in relationships, right? Seeing how you engaged in that way, and how you always did what you wanted to do, right? Because you were a Scorpio, and she gonna do what she gonna do,
Do what I got to
right? And
do.
people would be like, "Iris, da, 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 da," and you're like, "Yeah, okay,
Exactly.
I
And
got it, I
people
got it."
people come in with oh, but you walk with such a straight face. And I'm like, okay, that's natural. I don't have to be all peachy keen with everybody in the world. Like, like I keep mine's personal and keep it straight and narrow, and it's so crazy because you've been by my side
Mm,
in certain blessings,
mm,
I want to say, because I was so nervous. Let's go to like the instant of when I first got my first pregnancy.
mm.
I was scared.
Yeah.
And you were my first person I went to. And I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to break this to them. Like, this is crazy. I was taking every weekend available to go and stay over at your
I
house,
remember that.
just like try to figure things out, and it was just normal for me because even before then, we were always at your house every weekend, me and my little sister, right? And also our other god sister, Alana. And that's where you would create your vision boards with us. And at first we would be like, oh my God, Cindy, this is supposed to be a girls' night. Like, you're killing us. But it was such empowering, and it put facts in life for us in perspective,
Mm.
because we put things on a vision board that people see as like, oh, that's a piece of cardboard with papers and stuff like that. No, it's not. We're trying to see what we want in life and how can we get to it.
Oh my gosh, Iris, I totally, and I see that you're beautiful. My goddaughter's on. Hello, Maria. I love you so much. Uh, I forgot about that. I used to, and y'all used to curse me out because I would make y'all write down your 3 month goals, your 6 month goals, your
Yeah.
1 year goals, your 5 year plan. And I remember giving Maria when she graduated, and you see this when the tears are gonna start to flow. When she graduated with her master's, I think it was, I gave her, I found the paper. I was looking through my mail, my
I
box,
remember.
and I found the paper. Oh yeah, I took a picture of it and I sent it to y'all of what y'all said. And you know what, Iris? A lot of what you intended, you manifested,
Yeah.
right? And you were like, oh my gosh, it blew your mind. Um, so thank you for saying that because I did it out of love. I always wanted little sisters, and so y'all were my little sisters. So you
I
were
know,
my
because you were the baby of the bunch. So it's like you couldn't get it. So, we came in and it was like, forget about it. And you took us under your wing like there was no tomorrow. And what was so beautiful was that my mom and Alana's mom would just release us to you without a problem, without a second thinking. It's like, oh, Cindy's gonna come pick us up. Is that okay? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Fine, fine. Go, go, go. You know? And we would be out from Friday in the afternoon until Sunday in the evening. And which was so cool because you also took us out of our own environment and you showed us things that, you took us into the city, you took us out to eat, you took us to the movies, you took us on little shopping sprees. It was awesome. It was awesome.
And you know what? You're going to make me cry because this was not supposed to be about me. It's about to be about you. So we're going to
I gotta
shift the
let you go first
dialogue.
before me.
Thank you for the accolades. We're going to shift the conversation. I remember when you were first pregnant, Iris, and this is when we start this conversation about children as healers
Yes,
and teachers. And you came to me crying and you felt like somehow you had let me down.
I did.
And I remember you like told me, you were like, oh my goodness, I got to tell you something. And I was like, what? You didn't let me down, girl. And you were just so initially like, oh my goodness, and I remembered that, like the scared and not knowing. And then when your beautiful son was born, I mean, he couldn't have asked for a better mom.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, you were like, I'm like, you've done this before? I remember I had no idea. I didn't have any children at the time, but you were just masterful. And then you had your community of people and friends by your side. So share with us, what was a lesson or a blessing and a teaching with that first pregnancy? How old were you?
I was 18 when I got pregnant
Mm-hmm.
with Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was nervous, like down to the T nervous of how we were going to tell everyone in my family that we were expecting our boy, and it was nerve-wracking. And I felt like you said, I felt like I let you down and my mom and my dad. And I was just like, and growing up a child from 6 children, I'm the fifth one. And I was just like, okay, I have a whole bunch of people I have to tell. They're about to be uncles and an aunt. And I'm just like, they're about to be grandparents. And it was really nervous. But, with your help and your guidance, I little by little, I came down to sit down with each and every one of them and tell them, hey, this is the situation. And I've made my bed and now I'm ready to, it's time for me to be the mother that I'm supposed to be,
Wow.
Because I always felt that in me. I
Yeah.
was bound to be a mom.
Yeah.
And, as much as I played around with my mom and I made jokes and, you're a mom, you have 6 kids. Oh my God, I can't. I don't know how you do it. And I love my kids. My kids are my world. I push for my kids. Having 5 kids is, people look at me nowadays and they're like, tú no tienes 5 hijos. And I'm like, why you? you
And
know,
her body looked good.
girl, snap back. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because, you see Gabriel's my exact double. And he doesn't look like my son. He looks like my brother. And I'm just like, no, that's my son. Like,
Wow. And
he's
Gabriel is
old.
how old now?
He's 19. He's in college.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. How do you feel like when you say Naila's in college? It's like,
That's a whole nother show.
girl,
That's
you better leave my girl alone. Mm-mm.
a whole nother show. So you have a 19-year-old in college. So tell us who are your children and just kind of walk us through the lessons, the healing for each of them, because you have a story to tell. You are young, vibrant, connected, a mother that will stop at nothing. Don't you dare put your hands on her children because she's going to come
No.
for you. And I have
I
seen
may
her
be
come for
quiet.
people. And I have seen her come for people. And I'm like, I'm not sure that that's what you need to be
That's
doing.
not the route to go. And I'm like, no, listen, nobody's gonna stop my route right now. Like, it's not happening. So my oldest is Gabriel. He's 19. And that one right there is my right hand. And it's so funny because I posted up a saying the other day where it says, if you have a daughter, your firstborn is a daughter, is for you to learn patience. And
Mm.
if your firstborn is a son, that's for you to learn love, right? And I always knew I was loved. But when they placed that little boy in my arms, 8 pounds, blonde head, chubby face, and he just looked at me and I was just like, this is it. This is the moment where I know I don't only have to protect myself, but also my son,
Wow.
and it's so crazy because like, for example, when we was in the hospital and I was going for certain procedures and they was like, oh, he has a broken clavicle. And I was just like, what do you mean? And they was like, it's common and first time moms. And I was like, no, 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 no. Something, you did something to my son. Like, don't sit here and tell me that it's common. Like, that's not, and that at that point, I was just like, you're not taking him to nursery. You're not gonna, whatever little test you're gonna tell me first before you just, oh, he's going for a bath. No, you're gonna tell me step by step what you're gonna do. And it's just that child right there has taught me an abundance of love. All
Wow.
my kids have, but him being my first,
Yeah.
it was just like, I have my two nephews, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I helped my mom and my brother raise his two kids, but when you have a child of your own, it's like, okay, the tables have turned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm that quiet kind of person, but it's like, don't come for my child because that's when all hell's raised. And it has been shown in many occasions with each and every one of them. So it's like the saying of mama bear doesn't even, I don't even think fits me sometimes because it's just like the mouth that comes out of this mom is just like, hold on, I wasn't expecting that, you
Wow.
know. So
Mm-hmm.
my second oldest is Solomon, and he's 17. Solomon has taught me patience.
Mm.
That's my Spitfire.
Wow.
That's my firecracker. You know how we all have that one little child that is just like, you're testing your limits. Yeah, that's,
Be like Solomon.
I'd be like, but, and it's, I've sat down with you and also my mom, and I'd be like, you know what? That's my child. That's the one that, so I'm like, just like, I have a headache. Like, please just, why are you trying me? But that's the child that I see at the end of the day that if someone comes and talks to me indirect, someone comes and talks to me disrespectful, that's the child that he's like, hold on, that's my mother. You're not going to talk to her like that.
Mm. Wow.
And me and him, we've bumped heads, but it's just like I've spoken to him and I go, at the end of the day, you're my son, and no one's going to come at you sideways, and then he'll give me his hug and, he'll be like, that's my mom. But then I'd be like, when you're in trouble, I'll be like, that's my mom, pero te quiero meter el puño. And I'm like, can you just listen to me? Like, please. So Solomon is a very lovable kid. Everyone that meets him is like, he's so lovable, he's so respectful. And all my kids, I have instilled in them respect, right? We, as the adults we are today, we grew up with our parents, oh, da la bendición. Eso, si tú no das tu bendición, es un falta de respeto. And my kids are just like that.
Wow.
I'm very old school in certain teachings with them. So when they see somebody, it's like bendición. And a lot of people, older generation, hear that and they're like, that's that's funny because we don't hear kids, your children's age saying that.
Mm.
And I'm just like, no, I don't play that. I was raised that way, and that's how you're gonna give your respect. Just not like, hi, how you doing? No, you're gonna give your bendición, you're gonna ask for your blessing, and you're gonna keep it moving.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I love what Doctora Cristina is saying here. That, and I want you to honor that for your within yourself as a mom. The fact that you let him practice how to advocate for himself with you is huge because you're giving him life skills that when you're not around, he's gonna get to have those skills in his toolbox. And oftentimes, uh, moms or families, they tend to do too much. I feel like sometimes it's like you don't offer them that opportunity to flex their muscle, so then they never learn how to do that for themselves. And I agree with Doctora Cristina that and I've seen you do that. You're like, no, he went to the school, this is what he wanted. Like, you allow them to kind of move in the direction and learn about processes. And that's so amazing that you do that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's so crazy that you say that, and I'm glad you see it from outside the window, you could say, right? Because sometimes I feel like I'm hovering too much. And,
Mm,
sometimes I feel like I'm on top. And, sometimes Sean has to be like, just let him be. And I'm just like, no, it has to be like this. Like, he has to clue in. Like, it has to, you know. But Solomon has shown me patience. And I think over the years, it has gotten better,
yeah.
where it's just like, okay, Solomon, like, where he will tend to bump heads and it's just be like, you go take your breather, I will take my breather. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my strong-willed child, you know?
I
That's
love
the
it.
one where I'm just like, let me just take a breath. Like, I can't right now.
Right? I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So my third child, and this one right here is gonna hit, is Hazel.
Mm.
That's as bittersweet as it is to say, but I am blessed beyond blessed to have been her mother.
Mm.
She's in the heavens. She's our personal guardian angel. She would have been turning 16 this year.
Wow.
So she's forever young in the heavens. She passed away at 7.5. She was shy of her birthday. And
Wow.
I think that little girl showed me how capable of accepting love I am. Because when that little girl came into our lives, it was just like, I have my princess.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. I was in a house with three males and I couldn't take it no more. And when she came around, and it's so crazy because when we decided to go and try for our third child,
Oh, something.
you're going to see this is my daughter coming. And when that little girl came out, first off, she was like the easiest labor. I love that girl. I was pushing and the nurse was like, "Why are you still pushing?" I'm like, "She hasn't come out." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "She's right here." And I'm just
She was
like,
like, kaboom, get
"Oh,
stepped in,
okay,
kaboom.
that's how we do it." Okay. I was like, "I like you. Like, we got this girl." And I got into the diva mode with her.
Yeah.
The minute I was able to get her ears pierced and shopping for dresses and the little headbands and the little slippers. And even before she turned 1, I gave her first little pedicure. Put on the clear nail polish. And it was just like, forget about it. And to me, she showed me a whole different world because I remember cooking and it was always right there. She was always right there with me.
Yeah.
And, I love to bake. And she was my right hand in that situation. And she was like, "Mommy, when I grow up, I'm going to be a baker just like you." And I'm just like, I just do this for fun, but this is
Yeah.
what you want to do in real life. We're going to do it. We're going to push for it. Like, this is
Wow.
it. And I would buy her like the little 1, 2, 3 steps for like crumb cake, coffee cake, and she would do it herself. And she was like, "I did it. I'm amazing." And it was just like, and she was that diva where it was just like, she was humble, she
Mm.
was lovable, she had that angelic presence to her already, but I didn't notice it at that time.
Yeah.
She was very charismatic. She caught everyone's attention. And it's so funny because my mom would tell me that I would catch everyone's attention when I was younger.
Yes, you did. You caught mine.
I know, right? You ain't going nowhere. So, she represented that for me. She represented something that I was as a little girl. And she was very loved by everyone. And she's just such a humble and loving soul that it was like when she didn't feel, she wouldn't express herself without filter. So you know how some kids nowadays, they're just like, "I don't like that." No, she would like sugarcoat it. So she was aware of your feelings and she didn't
Yeah.
want you to feel hurt, but she
Mm.
also expressed herself. So it was like going through the waves and it's just like, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know." And
Yeah.
like with her, it's so funny. One story when talking about Mama Bear role for them, right? I went to pick her up from school and she's literally there crying. And I'm just like, why are you crying? What's wrong? What's the matter? I'm like, I'm only a minute late. Like, hold on, what's going on? She's like, no, mom, some boy in my class hit me. And I was just like, wait, what do you mean he hit you? And she's like, he was flinging his hat and it hit me in my eye. And you know her eyes. So she was blessed with some beautiful green eyes. They would change colors, but her main domain was those hazel green eyes.
Mhm.
And I was like, what do you mean somebody hit your eye? Oh my God, let me see. And, I checked her eye. She was fine. But then the school safety at the time, God bless her soul, because, me and her are still in touch. We're still friends. And I was just like, where's this boy at? And I'm gonna get this boy. And he hit my daughter in the eye. He could have had her go blind or something. She's like, Iris, calm down. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Take me to the principal's office. Like, we have to do this. This is this. And everybody in that school had to calm me down because it's like, hold on, you don't understand. This is my little girl. Like, this is my oldest. This is my firstborn girl. Like, there's no one to touch her. And it's always funny because you hear parents, oh, my son is in love with your daughter. And I'm like, no, like, we're not going that route. We're not doing that. Like,
Let's break it
no.
apart. Hmm.
Like, no, 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 we're not about that life. Like, no. So, I had the meeting the next day with the child and his parent and with the assistant principal, and I'm just like, listen, I was like, I'm sorry, but no filter moment. I was just like, before your son has any other idea, I was just like, before he meets her father, her brothers, her uncles, her cousin, her grandfathers, like,
Everybody.
he's gonna have to come through me.
Mm.
Like, so before you hit the line, it's me first. And her was, ay, que él está enamorado. And I'm like, nah, they're only like 6, 7 years old. What they can listen?
Oh, so
No,
he
we're
was
not
in
playing
love
that.
with Hazel.
He was in love with Hazel. I was like, you better get on the wagon and go somewhere because we're not doing this.
Wow.
I was like, bring her a chocolate or something. You don't come flicking your hat towards her face thinking that's funny. I was just like, no.
So, Mama,
I was,
you said Mama Bear would not be the term for you. Would it be Mama Shark?
it's so funny, Mama Shark, right? Because we both have my brother Tone on Instagram. He's like, he's the shark in those waters. So probably, right? Because he's like, I'll creep up on you and you won't see me coming kind of
Right.
situation.
And I remember Hazel's presence was just so special from the moment she was born, her face. And I remember holding her for the first time. And I remember saying, oh my God, I feel her love. I remember just saying that. I feel her love. And I love holding babies. And, some babies, you don't feel that right away. But I just felt like she
She
was
just
like,
gave off that warmth and that
yes,
presence.
yes. And the way she looked at you, like if you were the most important thing in the world at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so and I appreciate you sharing this vulnerable conversation, Iris, first of all, because it's not easy to go back to a narrative about, a child who was once here in the physical plane and is now in the spiritual plane. And the mere fact that you're able to have this conversation tells me a lot about your healing. And so I want to acknowledge that because there was definitely a time where you couldn't even say, like, we couldn't even get past a sentence.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I want
definitely.
to acknowledge that with you. So share with us like what what you feel comfortable sharing about the journey that you've had with this beautiful little girl in your life and the journey that you have with her now, right?
Okay,
And how
so
things are shifting.
first, so before we get into that one, because that one's going to be a tearjerker, I also want to bring into conversation Layla, my youngest daughter. That's my spicy. That's my
Oh
sass.
yes.
That little girl is sassy, spicy, no filter. Like, she's going to tell you how it is from point A to point B, right? And that little girl, has taught me how to stand my ground.
Wow.
You know, like she's firm on what she feels and what she thinks. And she has such a backbone where it's just like, you know what? Damn, I should be like that. Why? Because I'm her mom, you
Wow.
know? And I shouldn't have to sugarcoat and I shouldn't have to feel like I have to walk on eggshells just to let people know how I feel.
Mm.
You know, and I've come to terms with that. You know, like I could understand where it's going to probably make someone feel some type of way, but at the same time you have to feel what I'm feeling at that moment, how your actions have made me feel. So that little spicy sassy, I love her. And I have come to a point where I'm just like, okay, you're gotta slow down a bit because you have to like stop growing up too quick for me. You know, and she's coming into her own and she likes to try doing her own makeup. And I'm just like, you know,
Oh.
and you know, my parents, we couldn't do that. Me and Maria could not do that at all. So I'm just like, at one point, she was like, I would like to, you know, play around with the makeup idea. And I was just like, I bit my tongue and I was just like, you know what? We'll make a day of it. You know, got up on Saturday, woke up, and I was just like, you know, today's the day. Let's go buy you what you need. And
Wow.
brought her the makeup brushes, her foundation, her little set to put everything away, lip gloss, all this other stuff. And I'm just like, in the back of my head, like, oh my God, I'm going to die today. Like, this cannot be happening right now. You know, and I was like, you know, and I look at her and I'm experiencing so many things where it backtracks to her sister. And I'm just like, I should have already been prepared for this because I was supposed to go through it twice. So
Wow.
to just go through it just with her, I'm just like, I don't know how to process it sometimes, and I don't know how to handle it,
Wow.
you know?
Wow.
And then foremost and the not the least is little one, is Sean, the second, right? And if you ask him what's his name, he goes, Sean Hazel the second. He leaves out like two or three other names that he was given, and he'll go Sean Hazel the second. And we're like, hold on, it's completely different, but okay, I get what you're saying. And that little child right there, I think he brought back a piece of sunshine that was taken away from me.
Wow.
So it was so funny because when it comes to him, before everything happened, Hazel was asking to see if we would give her another sibling. And I
Mm.
was just like, well, girl, I don't know. I gotta talk to your father about that one. We got, you know, it's four of you. It's not as easy as it looks. You know, it's just like, it's a lot of work, you
Absolutely.
know, but then everything happened.
Mm.
And I think for our own healing, in the sense of we came to terms and talked about how are we gonna put the love that we had for her,
Wow.
where are we gonna, how are we gonna deal with that? And we both came to terms and we both agreed that let's try for another child.
Yeah.
And, you know, granted, when you're on all these birth controls and, you know, it's been a while, you know, and my doctor was like, you know, it may take a while because, you know, I was like, okay, no problem. And everything happened in March. So to come June and then Sean come out and be like, I don't know. I'm like, don't, like, let's hold on because when you say something, it has to be because you feel something. And I go and I buy the EPT and I'm just like, ding, ding. And I'm just like, oh my God, the baby's there. Like, the baby's there. And I didn't know how to process it neither because it's
Wow.
like, I didn't want to feel like, because I would never replace her, right? There's
Absolutely.
nothing or anyone in this world to replace her.
Mm.
But then it's like the love that I had for her can now go into this baby,
Wow.
you know? And he's blessed in so many different ways from his siblings because it's like he has a connection with her
Mm.
that I've noticed that's a connection that his other siblings don't have.
How so? I love that.
So when, yeah, so it's crazy because when I gave birth and I came home, you know, I made a wall for her with all her pictures and her certificates and everything, right? This little boy, and you know, it takes a while for their vision to clear. You would put him by that wall and he would gravitate to her big picture, which is her picture of her school portrait. And I'm just like, you know her, don't you? Like, it's something there. And he would give me that little side eye look, and he'll get the little baby smile, and then he'll go back down and he'll just stay staring at her.
Mm.
So it was like every few hours I was there next to the to her wall, and I would just, let him look at her and adore her. And, as time came by and he knew how to say his name, and, you know, I really didn't talk much about her to him because
Mm-hmm.
it was hurtful at the same time, but it was just like he needs to know about his sister,
Mm.
right? So I would tell him little stories here and there, but it's something with her that he goes, "That's my Hazel.
Wow.
She's mine." And he'll go and he'll joke around with his father, and Sean will be like, "No, she's mine." And he goes, "No, no, no, no. That's my Hazel. That's my Nunu." Like, no. And it's just like, you can't touch that subject with him, and she gives off her own love through him, and
Wow.
it's so unique because it's like not everyone knows this, but I have pictures of her taking naps, and she'll be laying down, but she'll be like this with her hands in
Mm-hmm.
prayer. And I never noticed that until after her passing.
Mm.
And there's come times since he was small and he would be taking a nap or going to sleep for the rest of the night. And it was always once in a blue.
Wow.
And those once in a blue is when my heart was like at its funkiest deep sorrow.
Yeah.
And I would put him to sleep and I would just look at him and there he is with her pose. And I just be like, okay, all right, you're here. I get it. All right, okay. I'm gonna be happy now. Like, okay, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, you know? And it's like crazy how you can explain something and everybody looks at you like, that's weird. Like that's you know, and no one's gonna understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's moments where he may do something or Layla may resemble her in certain things. And it's just I just feel this grip on
Wow.
my heart, just tugging. And I'm just like, I get it. You're hugging. I get it. This is okay, I know you're here with us.
Mm.
It was one time where I was cooking and I'm cooking and I'm cutting up and I see this figure run by me.
Mm.
And I'm just like, no. And there goes the figure again. When I happen to look, the figure is all I see is long, beautiful. She had her hair long,
Mm.
long, beautiful, wavy hair in a white dress.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, you're here playing with us. I
Mm.
get it. You're home.
Wow.
You're running around in the clouds. You did your salsa dance up there. You saw whoever you had to go see. You did what you had to do for your daily routine up in the heavens. Now you're down here with mom. You feel that mom needs you. Okay, now, this is your past. And, she's is so Sean has healed me in his own way
Wow.
coming into my life. And he's 6 years old, going on 7.
What? Already?
Yes, I
Oh my
know,
God.
right? I'm
What?
like, he was just born the other day. Like, what are you doing to me, little boy?
What?
And that right there, that little boy is so much resemblance to his older sister Hazel, where it's just like I walk in the door and it's like, Mama, you're home. I missed you. And with Hazel, it was every time my birthday came around, she made sure her brothers and her sister were like, you better tell mommy happy birthday because today's her birthday. And she was a funny character where she would see me in heels because I'm a sneaker girl. I love my sneakers.
Through
I
and
can't do
through.
I can't do heels like that. And if I do, I'll be like, yeah, this is not going for all night. Like I can't do this. And she would see me in heels from time to time to get dressed up. And oh mommy, you look 35. I was nowhere near 35, but okay. I used to be like, Andrew, you putting me older than what I need to be. But each one of them has taught me love, patience, unconditional love, how to stand firm, and just all of them combined have made me grow as a person and feeling confirmed that I chose the right path in
Wow.
the sense to become a mom
Yes.
because I knew that's where my path wanted me to take, right?
Mhm.
And And nothing in this world could tell me otherwise. Oh, you were meant to have done this in life. You were, no,
Yeah.
there is no regrets in my children having my kids, you know. And everybody used to be like, muchacha, you don't watch TV? Like, you're having them back to back. And I'm just like,
No, let's
I'd
talk about
rather
that,
back to
right?
back than
Because there
years.
were people I remember, each time that you had a child, I remembered us having a conversation where you talked about how people were talking behind your back, like your mother's church friends had all this stuff to say. And I love what you just said, Iris. Many people go through life thinking that their purpose has to be, for some reason, they look at what the media tells us, what the world tells us,
Mm-hmm.
and they think like, oh, I'm supposed to be a scientist, so I'm supposed to, change the world and invent something crazy, right? And your purpose could be simply caring for a loved one. Your purpose, like as you shared right now, like the parent, you've taught me how to be a mom. Like, listen, let's talk about that,
Oh,
right? Like, we're
man.
we're significantly, I think we're 8 or 9 years apart. But I remember you had kids before I did, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what the heck I was doing when Naila
Yes,
was
when
born.
you were having Naila, I was pregnant with Solomon.
Remember, I was like, "Girl, you gotta school me because I have no idea what I'm doing." And you're exactly where you need to be. That is exactly right, Doctora Cristina. You're exactly where you need to be, Iris. And I love, love, love that you just shared that. Because when you were, I don't remember how old you were when you wrote that down, that's what you declared, was that you would have a family, a husband, and children that you would love and care for and pour into. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what you have created in your life. Wow.
exactly. And I've done it with, as well as, you know, my nieces and my nephews, right? And it's with them, I'm like the aunt to go to, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like Maria's second oldest, Nikolai. To him, oh, forget about it. Nobody could mess with his Nina. That's I call him Pootie. That's my little Pootie. You know, that's my little Pootie that I'm on
Little
FaceTime
Pootie.
with him, my little Pootie. And he feeds me over FaceTime. And I'm like, what are you eating? He goes, here, chips, here. And, we'll feed each other through FaceTime, which is so hilarious. And my mother goes, you guys have serious issues, and I'm just like, no, no, we don't. I get that little boy, and it all turns down to look at Chris's oldest son,
Mm.
Bebo. Bebo's a grown man, married, has two little boys himself. And when he feels stuck in a rut, person getting a call is me. And I'm just like, okay. And it used to be funny with him because when I used to walk the streets with him, and I think I already had Gabriel, and somebody used to be like, let's say a situation where I was at the supermarket, and the girl at the cashier was like, "Oh, ese tu hijo, that's your son," and I was like, "No," and he was like, Mom, don't deny me," and I'm just like, "I'm gonna kill you, little boy, because you know I'm not your mother. Stop playing with me. I'm only like 17, 18 years old. You gonna get me thinking, stop, Chris." He's like, "Mom, but you promised me McDonald's." And it's like, all right, this is our cue to get out the supermarket because you're a little bit too much right now.
So what I'm hearing you say is not only did you pour love do you pour love into your children, but then you have excess.
Yes,
Excess. I mean, because I see how you were when my kids were little. I see how you are with your friends' children and also your siblings' children. You go beyond. You're above and beyond that titi. Because you could
oh,
be an
definitely.
aunt, right? But you're that
Yeah,
aunt.
I'm that aunt,
Wow.
and it's funny because like with Maria's kids, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go pick up the boys. No, you're not. And I'm like, okay, let's see about that, and I'll go to them and I'll be like, you're coming to Nina's house? Yup. And Nikolai's the first one. He's headstrong too. And Maria goes, hello, I am your brother. You need to ask me. He goes, no, I'm going to Nina's house. I'll see you. Bye. He's quick. He's quick. That little boy, I have picked him up from school and he's in there, and I'll take pictures real quick, and she's like, oh my God, he's living the life. He has smile from ear to ear. And I'm like, girl, I just brought him his chips. He's in the car. He's fine. I'll pop on the DVD player for him. I'll put on the music, and we'll be dancing to music as I go driving, and then once they get with my kids, and it's just like they're home, like they love coming to their titi's house because they're home. Just not, it's just not their cousins, it's not their god siblings, but it's also like Layla's their sister. The boys are their brothers,
Yes.
and I love that they feel like that.
Wow. Wow. So, you know, I love how you detailed each and every teaching, right? And I know we kind of went over because we're about to go there. Like we're going to that place.
All right, let's do this.
And we're going there. We're going there because you have such a story to tell. And like I said, we might get snot booger ugly, and
Hold
that's
on, hold
okay.
on. I gotta take my little Moscato sip right now. Okay.
Look, and I have my coffee today. Hold on, let me get my little sip of coffee.
I gotta do my little Moscato. Cheers.
Cheers to you, my love. I love you so much.
I love you too.
So storytelling, is transformative, right? It's like this way of sharing that not only is it empowering for you to know that you went through that and you grew through that. Because I never talk about grief as something that you overcome or as something that you get over. Because I'm very clear that grief, you grow through it. And it's with you always, right? It's not something that you put in the closet and then it locks up the door, right?
Exactly.
Some people might come to you and say, oh, but you had another baby. You still sad, right? And so let's go there, right? What year was that? I remember getting the call. So I'm going to set the stage. I was at a birthday party and I get a call, right? And it was a brunch. It was an early brunch. And I get a call from you. You called me. And you said, Cindy, I lost Hazel. I said, what? You said, and then you start sharing about a fire. All I heard was, I lost Hazel, right? And then you start crying. I start screaming. I was at a friend's house for a brunch, and it was her birthday. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I got to go.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even believe it, right? Like, I was just like, what? And so, first of all, that you even had the audacity to call me, right? Like, I first of all, I felt humbled and touched that I was one of the first, right? Because I'm sure there were a lot of people that you had to call that morning. And sort of that journey was not easy. I remember sitting with you and your family and wondering, how would you go on? Right?
I think everybody wondered that, right? Like it was nothing we were expecting to go through. And it wasn't anything that I thought I would have to deal with in life. And so just to give some details for everybody, right, that's joining us. So it was in the middle of the night. We're all sleeping, and fire just broke out from the kitchen. And it just was something so different in life to experience and to go through, where it was like, it was a heartbreaking, tragic experience and moment in our lives where I didn't know how I was going to continue with the rest of my life. When I saw the firemen bring my little girl down, I ran to her. They didn't let me get close. And all I can remember is seeing her on that table, on that stretcher, and them trying to do what they had to do for her. But something in my heart already knew. And I had neighbors giving me their cell phones so I could call my mom, so I could call my brothers, and I could tell them I need you now. And everybody coming and me telling them to take my other three kids. And,
Yeah.
I'm going to the hospital. I have to be where my daughter is at. And me going back and forth from the adult side of the emergency room, from getting checked myself, to the pediatric emergency room. And I'm looking for her, and I'm trying to get questions, and nobody has answers for me. And I'm asking, where's my daughter, what's going on? And probably like a good hour into being in the emergency room, I get a doctor that finally comes and talks to me, and he tells me, I'm sorry to tell you, but she didn't make it.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what do you mean she didn't make it? And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. So I walk away and I go to the adult side emergency room, and I look for Sean, and I'm like, you have to come back with me. You have to tell the doctor, like, I've had such and such years with you, being your wife and the mother of your kids, and I've lived my life. Like, tell them whatever it is that she needs, they could take it,
Wow.
And he's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking? I'm like, she's gone. She's gone. I don't know what else to say. She's gone. And he's like, he's lost too. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. They're telling me she's gone. I can't believe she's gone. So I'm bouncing back and forth. And I remember one instant where Tony finally made it to the emergency room. And as much as I love my brother, we're Scorpios. So we were always fighting with one another, right? But the minute my brother came into that emergency room and I saw him, I went running to him and broke. Like, he was the one that just grabbed me, and I was just like, I can't breathe. And so, then going back, and I'm asking questions, and I'm just like, and my kids are in the asthmatic room, and they're getting clean oxygen to them, because we did inhale some of that debris and everything like that. And then all I can remember is Layla asking me, where's Hazel?
Oh my gosh.
And me sidetracking that question, and I'm just like, put your mask on, you need to breathe clean air, and walking out. And then, me getting my mom and my dad to finally get them out of the hospital and take them home. And I'm just like, I'll be there in a little while. Just let me deal with everything here. And a nurse coming to me and being like, she's here. And I'm like, where is she? I need my daughter. And she's like, and lo and behold, that whole time I was in that pediatric emergency room, they had her in a room.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, she's there. And she's like, yeah, she's there. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming right back. So I went and got Sean. And I remember going into that room and my daughter there, laying there. And all I could think was, she's cold.
Wow.
It's too cold in this room for her.
Wow.
And taking the blanket and, covering her more, and laying down next to her and caressing her face, and, just talking to her and giving her kisses and her love. And it's crazy because when all this happened, she was wearing childhood earrings of mine.
Really?
Yes. And she had little bangles that I brought her. So I asked the nurse to help me take everything off. So she helped me because my hands were shaking. My hands were like literally a mess. I couldn't like grip the clips of the earrings, nothing. So she helped me out and she put everything in a little Ziploc bag for me. And, I'm over here. This is something I never experienced before. And so I thought, okay, me seeing my child when we started making funeral arrangements, in my mind, I was just like, okay, I identified my daughter's body right then and there.
Right.
To then go to the funeral home and then be like, well, in order for us to have access to her, you have to go to the city morgue and
Wow.
identify her. And I was just like, I already did that in the hospital. He was like, no, that's not what you did.
Wow.
So then to go through that process.
Yeah.
And, it's not what everybody thinks it is. Because I'm just going to lay it out there. You know how we watch SVU and, you get to go into them, or no, that's not the process. So that's what I thought
Wow.
was the process for this whole, identifying everything like that. No, you sit in a waiting room and they bring the person up in a monitor,
What?
and that's how you tell them if that's the person.
Let's
Yes,
take a moment to breathe. Can we breathe together?
yes, yes, girl. Let's you take your coffee and I'll take my let's go out here.
Because I have to say, Iris, that I remember I didn't want to know the detail. And I couldn't
Hmm.
even handle it. When everything happened, I remember I didn't ask you any questions.
Yeah,
Because not only did I want you not to have to say it again, but I knew that I couldn't even handle it.
yeah.
Right. And thank you for sharing that and sharing all those details, because someone is listening and you are providing healing and transformation for them. I mean, you have certainly for me in this time. I mean, the love that you have for your children, for your beautiful daughter, I'm feeling it. It's enveloping me right now. Like I'm snuggling in your love right now. Thank you. So I I always have a question, and you got me so stuck right now because I'm just trying to envision you in a morgue with your husband. Were you with your husband or by yourself?
No, unfortunately, because Sean was with the kids, I went by myself because I
Yeah.
was trying to get things done
Yeah.
quicker than later. So, I was trying to get her in our possession, basically, you could say,
Yeah. Yeah.
sooner than later. I didn't want no one else around her. I didn't want her sitting in a quote unquote ice box waiting for me to come and get her, you know?
Wow.
And through all that process, it was just like I was numb,
Of course.
and I was numb in the sense because I had to still wake up and I still had to be there for my other three
Yeah,
kids at the time.
absolutely.
And I had to push for them, and I had to secure them with that love, and my arms embracing them. And and then I also had to numb everything because then I also had to get preparations for her ready,
Oh,
you know, and I had to go and get her final outfit and, all these other things and put everything together. And, we went to the funeral home and we did the cards, and, we decided together that I was gonna write a paragraph, Sean would write a paragraph, and we combine them together. And that's what, because, when you get the cards in the funeral home, it's a saying from the Bible, and
yeah.
we didn't want that.
Mm.
So he wrote his paragraph, I wrote my paragraph, and we combined it, and that was the paragraph
Oh, that's
for
beautiful.
her card, and then I put some other cards together that his job at the time was so grateful and helpful to us. Has, they made hundreds of copies, and we were able to get those out as well to whoever came and attended the wake for her. So it was. And it's so funny because I remember at one time I got at a friend and I was just like, why wasn't you there at my daughter's wake? And she was like, I was, Iris. And I was like, no, you wasn't. And she was like, girl, yes, I hugged you and all. And I was just like, wow. Like, I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I remember you coming to me the first full day that we did the first one. And you was like, you need to go eat. And I was just like, no.
Or nasty
I
like
don't.
that? Was I
Yeah,
nasty?
no, you was not nasty like that, but you was like, come on, cariño, mi amor, tú necesitas comer. And I was just like, no, I'm all right. And you was like, but you need to eat, mama, come on. Like, you used to be like, no. And I hope you didn't take it the wrong way because I really didn't. But I was just like, she's not eating, I'm not eating.
Yeah.
She can't drink, I'm not drinking.
Wow.
And that's the way I saw it. And that's the way I saw it even before we wound up, finalizing all her resting and all that other stuff, when all you guys were coming to mommy's house, and I was just, and everybody's like, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh my God, no. And you could tell my mind was there, but it wasn't there because I was just like, I have to go get a tattoo of her. Because,
I know.
I was
Yeah,
just
I
like,
remember that.
I
And
have to go
everybody was
get her
like, what
tattoo.
is she doing? I said, you
What
better
is
leave
she
my girl
talking
alone.
about? Yes, and I'm just like, I have to go and get her portrait done, and my sister-in-law was like, girl, but you need to eat. And I'm just like, I'm fine. I'm good. Like, you don't understand. I have to go and get this done. This is how I'm going to have her on me, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it's so crazy because then after everything was once settled and done, what did I go do? I went and set up an appointment and I went and got her nickname done on me. To me, that was helping me out.
Yes.
And it's so crazy how people's like, you have so many tattoos, what's gonna happen when you get older? And I'm just like, listen, this is my therapy. Like, I went, and it came to a point where at first everybody was like, you gotta go see a doctor, you gotta go talk to somebody. I'm just like, no,
Yeah,
like, I'll do that when I'm ready.
that's
Like,
right.
I know how I'm gonna handle my situation, how I'm gonna deal with my pain. And my first situation and dealt with it was me getting a tattoo
That's right.
in memory of her, you
Mm,
know?
mhm.
And it's crazy and it's ironic at the same time too, right? Because people ask how you can go through that, a
Yeah.
thousand needles hitting your skin, piercing your skin, and embodying ink into you. But the way I see it is like when I get into those trigger moments is one pain numbing out the other pain.
Wow.
So
That's
you don't think about what's really affecting you emotionally
mm,
and causing your heart to break because you have, like people say, a thousand needles going at your skin, right? And you're thinking about that. You're like, wait, I have to angle myself at the right position to deal with it.
wow. And I wish that we had the lighting because your tattoos are phenomenal. And I know, like, you would send me pictures. I just got this one. I just got this one.
I
So,
know.
how many do you have now?
Oh my gosh, I lost count. Does that make sense?
No, and I love that you did it your way, Iris. And and you've grown up with people always talking crap, right? Like always, they always had something to say. And what I love is that you're like, okay, and you just like went about your business. No, and then the way that you just expressed that, right? Like you knew what you needed to comfort you, right?
Yeah.
And how beautiful to take images of her. Like it's so many that it's like the one is more beautiful than the other.
And it's
uh,
so crazy because it's like when I started my pieces for her, I wasn't intentionally doing it on just one arm, right? But that's how everything wound up. So let me see if I could get a bit closer. So what the first one was, which was this one,
wow.
which is where you see her nickname,
Yeah.
and it's my little angel. And it has her wings and it has her nickname. So from there, it went on to this one, where it was like everybody's like, but where do you get these ideas? And I'm just like, okay, so my backstory, I have like a backstory to like not every tattoo I've gotten, but when it's meaningful, I get my backstory to it. So it's where you have two roses, correct? And then I feel like I bloomed and I got to live life
Ooh.
where she didn't.
Wow.
So her rose didn't get to fully blossom. And then being that when she passed, she was 7, I caught 7 butterflies because
Wow.
she loved butterflies. So to me, she's my butterfly. So
Mm.
there's 7 in total all around. So
Wow.
then that was my second piece for her. And then a third piece was because my friend had posted something with precious moments. And I was just like, you know what? That's her. And it's
Wow.
a little girl with her dress and her wings, and she's saying her little prayer.
Mm.
And then from there, it went on to where I hit a moment where I was just like, I can't deal with this pain right now. So I have to come with something.
Mm.
And I contacted Bronx, Lebanon, where she was born. And I was able to get a copy of her footprints. So
Wow.
with that footprints, when they told me your paperwork is ready, I went skyrocketing through the Grand Concourse after work and I went and got her copy. And from there, that's where this one came up. So these are her actual footprints,
Wow. Oh my.
So that's her actual footprint. And it's so crazy because you see only four little toes here, right? But it's because her pinky curved in when they did her footprint. So it's curved in. It's there. She has five toes, people. She has all 10. But in that one,
Oh
the
my
little pinky went in. So from
God.
here, my cousin that did this artwork, and he also did this one, it was like, it swells up because the swelling and the whole healing process. Within the week of that, I went and finished up the rest of the arm.
Wow.
So to me, that's her and her little castle.
Oh my
And,
God.
time stopped evidently.
So intricate.
So yes. So it's like everything panned out together.
I mean, your body it is a work of art. I mean, if y'all, I don't think that the imaging is doing it justice at all. Because whenever, I know I haven't seen Iris in person in a while, but when I see her, I'm like all over her arms, like, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful, they're so beautiful. And so, wow, how you took a situation that, some people are not able to bounce back from that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know families where the depression is so deep that they cannot even care for their children that are surviving.
And I think it gets so heartbreaking that they don't know how to push themselves, or they feel that they don't have that support system, that
Mm,
where, let's go entail for like parents, they wind up divorcing, and there goes their family.
yes.
And and Sean and I, we didn't let that happen.
Wow.
We pushed each other more. And where I see where he's probably having his moment, and or he sees where I'm having my moment, it's like we sit there for one another, and it's like, we're gonna get through this, you know and we look at our kids, and we're like, they're our blessings.
Oh,
We have to keep pushing forward for them.
wow.
So we have, like, just, I think, empowered each other,
Mm,
and also stood for each other and helped each other through the grieving process, because I don't think our grieving process will ever end.
nope.
Because once you lose a child, when you lose a family member point blank, you never fully heal because of the memories and the bond you had with that family member.
Mm,
But when you're a parent and you lose that child, it's like, where do you go from here?
wow.
And we have to support one another. So for him to sit down and just let me break,
Wow.
I love that about him, because he doesn't tell me what typically everybody at the beginning was telling me. Oh, she's in a better place, she's in God's hands. And it's just like, that's not what I want to hear.
Exactly.
That's not where she's supposed to be. Leave it to me. Like, she's supposed to be here with me, enjoying her life.
That's right.
And that's when, I don't know if you remember, when we was at the funeral home, and I wound up standing and speaking to everybody, and I told everybody, and I say these words to these days, to, like, because me working in the school system, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these kids gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
And a lot of them call me Titi, or they call me their school mom. And I love it. I love it because, and then, when they're going through their troubles at school, here comes their mom, and they're like, you better come get your child. Oh, Miss Iris, you better come get your child. And I'm just like, hold on, like, don't kill my baby. Like, that's my other baby. Like, don't do that to them. Like, just take a deep breath. You got to hear them out. And I think not only have my kids helped me, but the kids in the school too.
Oh. And
And
wait,
it's so,
hold on. You ended up taking a job in the school where because I think that's so profound.
it's crazy.
You took a job at the very school where your daughter was attending,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And tell me about that, right? Like that, like the decision to even do that, and how that has transformed your life and the
So
lives of the other children, right?
I know.
Like
So it's funny because while she was still alive, I used to volunteer a lot.
yeah.
And I used to love volunteering, especially when they had pictures, school pictures. So I would go in there, and me being me, I would go with my hairspray, my hairbrush, my bobby pins, my extra ponytail holders, and I will see these little girls that, parents didn't know that it was picture day. And I used to be like, yep, come here, you're the one.
Oh,
And used to fix up the hair. So when a lot of the moms got their proofs, it was like, but I didn't send you to school like that. Oh no, Hazel's mom did it. She was there helping. And I got to know a lot of the parents through her.
mm.
Because here's the little second grader, and she knew fifth graders. And I was like, excuse me, miss, who's that saying hi to you? Oh, that's my friend. That cannot be your friend. That was like 4 or 5 years older than you. So, no. And I was, I'm an overprotective mom. But with her, it was just something like, don't even bother saying hi to my daughter. Like, no, that's mine. Like, don't do that. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're her age. No. Like, leave my daughter alone. I was very possessive of her. I really was, you know. And then after everything happened, the love that that school
Yeah.
all brought out, and teachers came out of their finances. Not only finances, but they also came out with support, emotional support. I was in that building 2 days after everything happened. And once I walked in, every teacher possible tried to find coverage to come down to the office to come see me.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So that to me, I was just like, wow. And little by little, I came to find my volunteering more active in the school after her passing. And then from there, I became PA president.
Yes, girl.
Yes, we was in there. And from there, that's when my pregnancy started with little Sean. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, we have a baby on the way." And and they wasn't the mockings where it was like, because I had quite a few come on, was like, "Oh my God, you pregnant? You just lost your daughter."
Mm,
Okay, I'm not trying to replace her. I have somebody come and tell me, "Oh, you trying to replace your daughter?"
wow.
Excuse me?
Mm,
I will never, ever think about replacing that little girl.
wow.
She's irreplaceable, point blank.
Irreplaceable. Yes, she is.
There's no replacing that little girl. She brought a light and love that I say when that sun hits my face while I'm driving or standing somewhere, that's her sending her warmth, right?
Mm,
When those stars shine bright, that's her saying hi.
wow.
Where there's instances where we're out somewhere and we're doing things and that butterfly comes by and that same butterfly stays in the same zone where we're at, that's her.
Wow. Wow, Iris. I mean, I'm looking at the time because I don't want IG to kick us off. Um, so I, I don't, I can't even find the words to say, right? Like you blew me away. Like if we spoke a little while ago before the call and you were nervous. I mean, I'm waiting for that book to come out. Okay.
Oh, girl, we got to get on that.
I'm waiting
Remember,
for
I
that
told
book
you that
to
I
come out.
wanted to write a book for her. Yeah,
No,
I definitely still do.
I'd love for you to share. What would you tell Iris from all those years ago when you had those days where you couldn't get out of bed, when the grief was so bad, when I remember visiting you at the hotel and I felt that grief so deep. And I remember saying to you, Iris, I don't have anything to say, but that I love you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what would you tell that younger you or anyone that's hearing this that has experienced something of this magnitude? What encouraging words would you share?
I think I would tell my younger self and any other person that feels like the world is against them, because that definitely, I have my days where I feel like everything's against me, where I would tell my younger self, nothing in life can prepare you for
Mm,
any sort of heartbreak,
wow.
any sort of emotional turmoil where you are stronger than what you think you are.
Mm.
Your kids
Mm.
are your story. Your kids are your backbone, you know, and you will push and strive. Why? Because they need you. So even on my worst days, I get up because they need me.
Wow.
And I don't care how old they get. I don't care what they like go on and do in their own adult lives. I always tell them they'll be my babies, and there's no way anybody's gonna tell me otherwise, you know? And I push them just to be better humans,
Wow.
where no one can knock them, no one's slightest words will drop their, their dignity or their pride down.
Wow.
Because in the world we're living in, words are very easily triggers to put a person way down and to put them in that state of depression or emotional wreck where it's just like, no, you're so much more than that. Not one person can knock you down.
Wow.
You're going to show the world what you're made of.
Iris, I'm like, that was beautiful. I gotta get
And
off
I was
before
so
I
nervous
get
to get on this
before
today.
I get like booger ugly crying because oh my god, you just inspired me like I gotta step up my parenting game on a whole nother level right now.
No, girl,
After this
trust me, you're doing an amazing job. I look at Naila and Naila alone, and I'm just like, she shows that strong, resilient woman, and at that Dominican pride woman that you instilled in her. And let's get down to the nitty gritty because Miss La Doña has instilled that in you girls.
mm,
Your mom was a hell of a housewife, hell of a homemaker. She did what she had to do. Why I love your father. That was my guy. Like that was like forget about it. Every pregnancy,
we
they
love
were
him
like,
some
we're gonna be
Iris.
grandparents.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm just like, okay. I have additional grandparents for the kids. They loved, and your mom, every time a belly popped up, she was like all over it, rubbing it, talking to it. And I used to be like, this is hilarious.
Listen, she
It's a lot.
thank you so much, Iris. And I received that. I received what you just shared, and I thank you for that. And I hope that you have received all the love that was shared. There were a lot of comments giving you accolades, a lot of hearts throughout. I continue to pray for you and your family, for your resiliency, for your triumph, right? And for you to continue being the unapologetic Iris because you are literally transforming the world one little child at a time at that school.
Oh,
I can
and
only
I love all my
imagine.
adopted children.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
can
all
only
my
imagine.
adopted children, right?
I can only
So it's
imagine.
it's like funny how I came to work in the school that she attended, and I came to work shortly after I had the baby,
Wow.
and I've been there almost 6 years strong,
Yeah.
working, and all those kids off to middle school and high school, and they come looking for me.
Oh,
And all I hear is Tia, Mom, and I'm just like, oh, you guys, you didn't want to be here, so why are you coming to visit us
I
now?
know, I
And I
know.
get the funny kids. I get the funny kids where they're like, you're so mean, and I'm like, I'm glad you know that. But they're the same ones that graduate and come to me with like the boogers cries.
Yes,
I'm gonna miss you, and I'm just like,
of
I thought
course,
I was mean though.
of course. That is so. I know that you're going to continue to use your light to bless other people. I look forward to that book. Doctora Cristina says she wants to have you on a live. Doctora Cristina says she needs you to get that book on and popping. Okay. And so thank you so much for the generosity of your time, of
Oh, thank you
sharing
for
your
having me.
story, because you have just inspired me in this time. Now I'm gonna go in the corner and go cry. Ugly but cry.
Oh,
And thank you so much. I love you so much, my sister.
I
And
love you so much too.
I love you so much. Have a wonderful day, okay?
I will.
Bye bye.
Love you guys. Bye.